Hey guys, welcome to the studio. This is my dog Cece and she's hanging out with me today. And we are going to be creating some fun summer popsicle art. This is a project that I do with my students that they always love. Here's my example here, and you can see I use actual popsicle sticks, so you get to kind of have some fun, use some bright colors. So I'll go ahead and show you how to get started. So the supplies you'll need for today's project, for the background we'll be using some paint, and you can really use any type of paint that you have on hand for this. You can use acrylics, tempera, or even watercolors could work. You will need some type of popsicle sticks if you have them, or you might could find something else you could substitute. I'm using colored ones just because I think they're fun. You'll need some glue, some crayons, maybe a pencil to draw out your design first, some scissors, and then 2 sheets of paper, one that is smaller and then a larger size paper for the background. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we're actually going to create our background first. So let me move this stuff out of the way. And we'll lay the smaller piece of paper to the side. That's the paper that we will make our popsicles on later. And for those of you that are not familiar with pop art was an art movement that began in the 1950s, and it was art that focused on popular images, brands, celebrities, etc. And one of the artists that whose name you would hear a lot with pop art is Andy Warhol. He was famous for the Campbell's soup can and pictures of Marilyn Monroe and Mickey Mouse and all that. And so we're going to be doing popsicles because they're a pretty popular thing in our culture. And we're going to do what Andy Warhol did for the background. We're going to have kind of like a repeating shape of rectangles. And so I folded my paper in half like I'm making a card for somebody. Then after you fold it in half, if you turn it to where the fold is at the bottom and the opening is at the top, fold it in half again like you're making another card. And this will give you 4 evenly sized rectangles for your background. And so now I can kind of see 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles. And I keep using the word background, and if that's a new word for you, I'm just talking about the area, space, or the part of the picture that appears to be behind the subject. And like in this little portrait of 2 girls here, this zigzag line is the background in that picture. And so in our background, it'll be 4 different colored rectangles. Another thing is in pop art, repetition is really common, and repetition is just when a shape, color, line, or an element of art is repeated throughout. And so we'll repeat that rectangle design, and then we'll also repeat the shape of the popsicle over and over, even though we will make each popsicle different. And so now I've already chosen my 4 colors for my popsicles. And now I'm going to grab a paintbrush, and I'm going to go ahead and paint in the background. So now that I've finished painting the background, I've got my 4 rectangles of different colors. I'm going to lay this to the side so that it can dry while I work on designing the popsicles. And this is the part where you get to be really creative and have fun. We're going to be using line to create patterns. And when you think about lines, there's all different types of lines. There's zigzags, there's diagonal, wavy, there's a closer, taller zigzag, loopy lines. You can do a series of curved lines. You can do loopy lines that go in different directions. There's a long, slow curved line. You can make dotted lines, spiral lines. The possibilities are really endless, but this is what can add a whole lot of interest. And so for each popsicle, I'm going to use different types of lines to create a pattern within each popsicle. And here's some examples of patterns created from the use of lines. And so you can see you can start out small and make the lines get bigger. You can keep them the same and it creates a totally different pattern. You can use diagonal lines going in 2 directions to create like a harlequin or diamond pattern. You can overlap squares. But anyways, it's just kind of fun to experiment with different line designs and come up with neat patterns. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we're going to start the same way with this piece of paper as we did for the background. We're going to fold it in half like we're making a card for someone. Just kind of crease that edge and press it down, and then you'll turn it just like we did before to where your fold is at the bottom, the opening's at the top, and we'll fold it in half again like we're making a card. And that'll give you your 4 sections, and in each section we will create the shape for the popsicle, and then after we color them we'll cut them out. So now I can unfold my paper, and I've got my 4 rectangles, and now I'm going to take my pencil and draw like a letter U, a very large letter U that takes up almost the entire space in each rectangle. So I'll start here. Okay, and so at this point, I like to draw my lines or patterns out with pencil first. You could just go ahead and use crayon or colored pencil or whatever you have, and go on and color them in. I'm going to do mine first with pencil. I just like to do that in case I make a mistake. That way I can erase, or if I don't like it, I can do it again. And I'm going to start with just kind of a curvy line, and then follow it to create a pattern. So there's my first pattern. For the second one, I'm gonna do kind of one of those loopy lines that goes all different directions. And once you feel like it's pretty balanced, then you can move on. The next one, I'm gonna do like a curved line that repeats, kind of make the fish scale pattern, or like you're making little hills. Then I'll start at the top of this hill, go to the middle of the next hill, and just kind of continue on. And then finally on the last one, I'm gonna do a type of zigzag. Okay, so now that I've drawn out all 4 of my patterns, the next thing that I'll do is just start by adding coloring, you know. You could do like a pattern here of pink, green, or you can just do random. That's just your choice as an artist, is to make them interesting. So now I'll just go ahead and fill them in with color at this point. Okay, so now I've finished creating 4 patterns in each of my 4 popsicles, and at this point your background paper should probably be dry, and you will be able to cut out your popsicles. I'll start with this one, and it's a good idea to kind of lay it out first before you glue it down and see which one shows up best on which color in the background. And so since this one has like a lot of red and orange, I would not want to glue it on the red or orange background because it wouldn't show up as well. And I'll go ahead and choose which color popsicle stick, and I'll go ahead and attach that. And so probably for this one, the blue would be a good choice because it ties in with the blue lines. I am going to take my glue, and on this stick, I'm just gonna start in the middle and draw a line halfway down. And I'll attach that to the back of the popsicle shape that I cut out. So now I have my popsicle, and make sure, you know, kind of slide it to where it'll fit in your background shapes. And then I can go on and figure out, see, that's what I was saying about placing on those probably is not the best choice. Probably my best choice would be on the green because it doesn't have any green in it. It stands out the most there. There's the most contrast or difference between it and the background. So now I'm going to take my glue bottle and make a U shape so that this part will glue down. Then I'm also going to draw a straight line down the back of the popsicle stick and place it on the green background, kind of center it. And at this point, I will just repeat the process for my other popsicles, cut those out, glue the sticks on, and place them on there until I have all of them in place. Hey guys, I hope you had fun creating your popsicles today. I'd love to see the results. Feel free to share them with me in the comments if you want to. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.